So welcome to physics online session. In this class we will discuss the three decay, that is alpha, beta and gamma decay. So before going to discuss those decay process, just let me recall the definition of radioactivity. Okay, what is a radioactivity? It is a spontaneous process. It takes place by itself, okay, in which particles or radiations are ejected out from a heavy nuclei, okay, so is known as radioactivity. Okay, so we also discussed that radioactivity is of three types. So alpha decay, in which alpha particle known as helium nucleus will be emitted from a heavy nuclei. Next, second decay process is beta decay. In beta decay, either electron or positron are emitted from the nuclei. Next, third one, gamma decay. In this decay, high energy photons are emitted from the nuclei. Okay, so now we will discuss these three decay process in detail. Okay, first one is alpha decay. Okay, so when the decay is said to be alpha decay, if a nuclei decays by emitting alpha particle, then the decay is known as alpha decay. Okay, in alpha decay, in this decay, in this decay or disintegration process, the atomic number decreases by 2 units, and mass number, atomic number generally represented by symbol Z. Mass number A decreases, atomic number mass number decreases by 4 units. Okay, so now I will write the general form of alpha decay. General form of alpha decay. General form of alpha decay can be written as, so here let us take the parent nuclei XZA is the parent nucleus. Okay, this is the nucleus before the decay process. Okay, after disintegration, so what happens to the atomic number? It decreases by 4. When atomic number changes, the nuclei also changes. Atomic number decreases by 2, and mass number decreases by 4. So this is called the product or daughter nucleus, and along with alpha particle whose atomic number is 2 and mass number is 4, and some energy will be liberated. P is nothing but the disintegration energy. Okay, so this is about the general form of alpha decay. When a nucleus when XAZ nuclei disintegrates, okay, so what happens? If one alpha particle is emitted from the nuclei, so its proton number decreases by 2 units and mass number decreases by 4 units, along with some energy will be liberated. Okay, so where Q is the disintegration energy, and it can be calculated by using this formula. This is nothing but the mass energy difference. Okay, so on both sides, here here mass of the parent nuclei mx minus the mass of the product nuclei mass of the helium. See here mass difference. So I am using calculating the q value by using this relation. Okay, so q is equals to delta m into c square. Mass difference in the mass will be converted into energy. That is why I am trying to find out the difference in the mass of product and parent nuclei and particles. Okay, this is the way to find the disintegration energy or liberated energy. Okay, so let us take one example of alpha decay. Example, when radium 88 226, radium whose atomic number is 88 and mass number is 226 and disintegrates. Okay, so we'll get a radon 80. So what happens to the atomic number? Decreases by 4, it is 86, and mass number decreases by 4, so it is 222, and we'll get helium 24 and 4.87 MeV. This much of energy is liberated when radium undergoes alpha decay. Okay, so this energy is liberated here. Okay, now here if Q is greater than 0, then the reaction is known as exothermic reaction. Okay, if Q is less than 0, the reaction is known as endothermic reaction. Okay, so right, this is about the alpha decay. In any decay process, alpha or beta or gamma decay, here proton number or atomic number or charge is conserved. The second one is the nucleon number or mass number is conserved. Okay, on both sides of the equation the atomic number should be same. On LHS the total atomic number on the LHS side is 88, on RHS also it is 86 plus 2 88, and mass number 226 here 222 plus 4 226. So in any reaction the charge and nucleon number should be conserved. Okay, right, this is about the alpha decay. And the next process is beta decay. So if a nuclei disintegrate or decays by emitting beta particles, then the decay is known as beta decay. So here beta decay is of two types. Beta decay is of two types. One is beta plus decay. First I want to discuss beta minus decay. Beta minus decay, there are two types of decay, beta plus decay and beta minus decay. In beta minus decay, electron is emitted from the nuclei. Okay, right, and in this beta decay, in beta minus decay, Z nothing but atomic number, so increases by 1 and mass number do not change. Mass number nothing but A do not change. So the general form of beta decay is can be written as x is x a z is a parent nuclei. When it undergoes beta decay, you will get a product nuclei whose atomic number increases by 1 and mass number do not change. So and we will get a electron whose charge is negative, and along with electron, so anti-neutrino, one more particle is emitted here. Okay, so here in beta minus decay, along with electron an anti-neutrino is emitted. Okay, this particle anti-neutrino is a smallest particle whose mass is almost negligibly small, and it travels with the speed of light. Okay, so now we are not going to talk about this anti-neutrino, so but it will be emitted in this decay process. And second type of beta decay is beta plus decay. So before going to discuss this beta plus decay, I'll give one example of beta minus decay. Example of beta minus decay is when neutron converts into proton. Okay, so when neutron converts into proton, when neutron undergoes beta decay, so here proton is ejected, proton plus electron, electron, simply I will write it as simply electron plus anti-neutrino is emitted. It can also be written as neutron whose charge is 0, it is a neutral particle and mass number is 1, and proton can be written as 1h1, proton nothing but 1h1 hydrogen. So 1h1 whose atomic number is 1 and mass number is 1, neutron number is 0. Here neutron, it is a proton plus electron E minus 1 0 plus anti-neutrino is emitted. If you observe this reaction, here mass number and electron number, proton number is conserved in this reaction. Here 0, atomic number is 0 on LHS. RHS also the sum of the atomic numbers should be 0. Here 1 plus half minus 1, it will be 0. On LHS side the mass number, okay, the mass number is A. On RHS side also 1 plus 0, the mass number is 1. So this is a valid equation, nuclear equation. Okay, so please remember here, in any nuclear reaction the atomic number and mass number or nuclear number should be conserved. Now we will talk about the next decay, that is beta plus decay. So beta plus decay. In this beta plus decay, so positron, E plus nothing but positron, so E is nothing but, this is called a positron, this is anti-particle of electron is emitted. So it has the same property as that of electron, but the charge is negative, so positron is emitted. So okay, in beta plus decay, the proton number decreases by 1, proton number decreases by 1, and mass number A do not change. Okay. So here example of general form of beta decay. General form of beta plus decay is XAZ. When it undergoes beta plus decay, its atomic number decreases by 1 and mass number do not change, and positron along with positron neutrino, this is the anti neutrino, this is neutrino is ejected out. Okay. So here and example of this type of decays, example, I'll give example. Okay. When neutron converts into, when proton converts into neutron. Okay. So neutron when converts into proton, so here sorry, it is the reverse process. When proton converts into neutron, yes. So here when proton converts into neutron, so a positive charge is ejected out, nothing but proton is a positron is ejected out along with the neutrino. It can also be written as proton nothing but 1h1 and neutrino nothing but 0n1, positron E plus 1 0, mass number of electron is almost negligible, that is why mass of electron is taken very small, it negligible, I am taking negligible, electron has negligible mass, along with neutrino is emitted. Here also the atomic number is 1 on LHS, RHS side also 0 plus 1 1, and mass number on LHS is 1 and RHS also 1 plus 0 is 1. This is about beta decay. Okay. And the next and the last decay is gamma decay. If a nucleus disintegrates by emitting gamma rays, then the decay is known as gamma decay. Okay. So in gamma decay, either proton number or mass number do not change. Okay. In gamma decay, either neither Z nor A changes. Okay. So the general form of beta decay is what happens, but what happens here, nothing is changing here, just but the energy state of the nuclei, nucleus changes. Okay, nothing will change, proton number, mass number in a gamma decay remains constant, just the energy state of the nucleus changes. Let us take an example. Okay, here strontium 38 87, sorry, I will remove it. Strontium 3887, actually it is in the excited state, and after some time it comes to ground state, so by emitting gamma rays. Okay, so it is said to be in excited state. Now this nuclei is said to be in ground state. Okay, so let us take one more example here. When cobalt undergoes beta decay, it converts it leaves nickel in excited state. Okay, when nickel in excited state comes to ground state, gamma radiation are emitted. Gamma radiation are emitted. Okay, let us see the figure here. I'll draw a small figure here. Cobalt 2760. Okay, when it undergoes beta decay, beta minus decay, so its atomic number increases by 1 and mass number do not change. Okay, now it is in a excited state, and this excited nickel comes to ground state by emitting 2 gamma radiation, 1.17 mega electron volts and 1.3 around mega electron volts. It comes to ground state by emitting 2 gamma rays. Now it is said to be in excited state. Now it is in a ground state. Okay, so this is about the gamma radiation. Just what happens in a gamma radiation, just gamma rays are emitted. When they are emitted, when excited nucleus comes to ground state, gamma radiation are emitted. Okay, this is about the 3 decay process. Okay, next I will explain last topic of this class. Right, here you can see this picture. Here we are talking about the nuclear here we'll talk about the order of nuclear energy. Okay, so nuclear energies, nucleus provides large amount of energy. Nucleus gives us enormous amount of energy, Okay, so when you observe the binding energy curve, so this is a binding energy curve, so drawn between the mass number and binding energy per nucleon. When you observe the binding energy curve, as the mass number increases, binding energy increases, and it is almost constant for the intermediate nuclei. The first what we observed in the first point, from the binding energy curve, here binding energy is almost constant for the atomic nuclei ranging from almost 30 to 170. It is almost constant. It is about 8 mega electron volts. Okay, and you can see you can see the picture here once again. From the binding energy curve, it is clear that nuclei ranging from 30 to 170, the binding energy per nucleon is almost constant. I showed you already, and it is around 8 mega electron volts. Okay, so and it is also observed that for the lighter nuclei, the lighter and heavier nuclei, nothing but the mass number the nuclei whose mass number is less than 30 are known as lighter nuclei, and the atomic nuclei whose mass number greater than 170 are known as heavier nuclei. in lighter as well as in heavier nuclei, the binding energy per nucleon is small and it is less than 8 mega electron volts. So they are, so this lighter and heavier nuclei, lighter and heavier nuclei are unstable because their binding energies are small. Okay, so but what happens if a nuclei with the low binding energy converts into greater binding energy? Some amount of energy will be released. Okay, here you can see those difference, those gain in the kinetic energy in these two processes, nuclear fission and fusion. Okay, so lighter nuclei are unstable here. So here the lighter nuclei, these lighter nuclei whose mass number less than 30 are unstable. They are unstable. Okay, why? Because their binding energies are small, mass number is small, so binding energy is small. Okay, so what, and the heavier nuclei also unstable. Okay, they are heavy and also unstable. Okay, but at the intermediate nuclei are only stable. These are only stable, these are unstable and these are also unstable. The intermediate fragments are only nuclei are only stable, whose binding energies are large compared to lighter and heavier nuclei. Okay, so here what the heavier nuclei do, say heavier nuclei undergoes nuclear fission process. Okay, so it undergoes nuclear fission process, I think, but the heavier elements breaks up into intermediate fragments. The heavy elements so breaks up into two intermediate fragments, so whose mass actually generally the heavy elements whose mass number is greater than for example, let us take A equals to 240, it is unstable, which is unstable nucleus. When it breaks into atomic nuclei have mass number 120 and 120, it is an intermediate nuclei. This is the intermediate nuclei. It is a stable nuclei, stable nucleides. So what happens? So this process is called, okay, here the heavier nuclei are unstable and they have tendency to disintegrate, they have tendency to splits into lighter nuclei. So and this process is known as nuclear fission process. The heavier nuclei undergoes nuclear fission process. What about the lighter nuclei? Lighter nuclei combine to fuse into heavier nuclei, nothing but combine to heavier, nothing but intermediate nuclei, so they will get stability. What is happening here? Heavy nuclei so splits up into smaller nuclei, they get stability, and this process is known as nuclear fission. So lighter nuclei have a tendency to fuse together to become stability. Okay, but intermediate nuclei are what they are stable nuclei. Okay, though just remember one point, heavier nuclei undergoes nuclear fission process and lighter nuclei undergoes nuclear fusion process, nuclear fusion. Okay, the next classes we will discuss what is nuclear fission and what is nuclear fusion. Okay, right, next we will discuss, okay, right. So here once again see these figures here, okay, points. So from the binding energy curve it is clear that so atomic nuclei whose mass ranging from 30 to 170, the binding energy per nucleon is almost constant. They are said to be stable nucleides. For lighter and heavier nuclei whose mass number less than 30, they are known as lighter, greater than 170 known as heavier nuclei. Their binding energies are small, they are said to be unstable. So if the nuclei with low binding energy converts into high binding energy, some amount of energy will be liberated. That we see in both these reactions. When a heavy nuclei so with low binding energy breaks up into intermediate fragments, so the binding energy increases. In this process, amount of energy will be released. This process is known nuclear fusion. So what happens in a lighter nuclei? Lighter nuclei cannot split. If they split into them, lighter nuclei, what happens? Further the binding energy reduces. So they will prefer only nuclear fusion process. So lighter nuclei fuse together to form a heavier nucleus, nothing but intermediate nucleus, so whose binding energy is large. So this process is known as nuclear fusion process. Okay, so here nuclear sources, nucleus provides, I said that nucleus provides large amount of energy for the same quantity of matter. For example, if you take a coal and nuclear compound, any compound, okay, nuclear compound like uranium, okay, if we have 1 kg of uranium and you have 1 kg of coal, okay, for example, when uranium undergoes nuclear fusion process, it produces 10 power 14 joules of energy, but with the burning of 1 kg of coal, just you are able to produce 10 power 7 joules of energy. So we are taking the same amount of, we are burning the same amount of uranium and coal, but from uranium we are getting almost 10 power 7 times energy, almost million times. We can produce million times more energy than the chemical source. So burning of chemical process, so chemical source, so here nuclear sources are almost 10 power 7 times, a million times more energy than the chemical sources. So that is why they are used in nuclear reactors to produce electricity. So with a less amount of uranium, we can get more large, enormous amount of energy. That is the importance of nuclear energies. Okay, thank you. In the next classes, you are going to learn nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Thank you.